welcome to Tricks of the S-Trade channel. Today happens to be the 10th of June 2018. The title of the video is titled The Real Da Vinci Code. It's really not about the Da Vinci Code, the book. It's more about the movie and the person who directed the movie, which will reveal all the details in a short while or later. So that's why the video is titled The Da Vinci Code, The Real Da Vinci Code rather. So for first timers, if it's your first time on the channel, I'd like to welcome you, and for all the other subscribers, I have to welcome you as well. My voice is kind of somber because even though what you're looking at the screen right now is about 3 strikes that have been landed on account, 2 strikes currently, and as you know, under YouTube rules, when you have 2 or say 3 or more strikes for the same fake community guidelines, rules or whatever, they eventually shut your channel down. So that's why we're sounding this way, or rather why I'm sounding this way, a little bit sad but happy at the same time. Happy in the sense that you know, when a lot of people all around the YouTube community and people who watch YouTube and so many other people who are trying to get information, trying to understand the truth, when they arrive at the point which they single-handedly figure out that it's the Jews that run the world, they make videos about it on YouTube, and all those videos get passed. They don't have any problems at all. Once you mention it's the Jews that's running the world and everything goes fine, right? But since we on this channel are dedicated to truth, we live our lives for truth. That's all we care about. We don't care about if you're going to hurt someone's feelings or not. But we want, especially the younger generations that's coming up, to have some semblance of truth, because without us preserving the truth as we've preserved it in our book, we feel that our history is going to be totally lost and the whole world might be lost. Because, you know, a lot of people always think that there are people out there who are supposed to, you know, take care of things for them. But you have to understand that truth, the responsibility of you keeping truth, the responsibility of doing anything in this world always lies with you. You can't pass off your responsibility to somebody else and think that somebody else is going to do it for you, or that there are organizations that you know, around the world that has been created to take care of you will do it. Because we've been trained right from childhood to think that that authority is the truth. That means when you see someone in a place of authority, then that they're acting in the interest of truth. That's how we've been trained, because we've never been taught that the responsibility for truth starts, lies, and ends with you, the individual, not with organizations. Because truth is an authority in itself. There should not be an organization for truth, but truth itself, it should be an authority. If something is black, it's black. If it's white, it's white. So the Vatican finally has decided that they're going to shut this channel down, and it's happened because they've landed 2 strikes. We are very, very happy for this, because at least a lot of people will wake up to the reality that we weren't just talking. Because if we were saying that it was the Jews all along, everything would be fine. We had no problems, because when you say it's the Jews, it falls in line with the you know, with the propaganda that the Vatican wants you to believe, or the lies that the Vatican wants you to believe. It falls in line with their own curriculum, because they set up the Jews for you to believe that it's the Jews when it's not the Jews. So all the organizations that you can think of, it's all a cover, all right, for the Vatican, so people don't realize. So immediately we started talking truth. They started putting strikes. They did so in so many ways. For example, we once had a video in which we said that Jews will be Catholics. They took some features off that particular video, because like I've always said before, YouTube is owned by the Vatican. The Vatican runs YouTube. There is no such thing as a community guidelines on YouTube. That's all the central core of the Vatican right in there, trying to make sure that they check free speech and don't allow us to speak our minds and speak the truth, so that a lot of people don't come to the reality that the organization that has been running the world, responsible for everything that has been happening, has always been under a cloak of religiosity, and it happens to be the Vatican. So we are happy, but we're not concerned about that because, like I said before, we're working on our website. Some people might think that the website is going to come up really quick, but it's not, because it's going to be something that has never, ever existed in this world before, the website. So that's why we're taking our time, because I don't want to go into the strict details of what the website is going to be, but you should take my word for it when I say it's going to be something that has never existed before. And I mean it in every sense of the word with what we're working on. It's going to be a kind of website that has never, ever existed in this world, because it's going to be dedicated to making people understand the truth. So because of that, you should send us an email. First and foremost, get the book. The book is the most important thing that you should get, because when you get the book, you have this history in your hands. It's encoded, all right? It's just going to be like, we're not saying it's a Bible, but we've always said it's the next best thing after the Bible. You have this history in your hands, and you can pass it on to your generation and your children's children, so that they have this history, so they will not be lost. Because everything that we're doing on here is digital. Anything digital can be corrupted. Let's say 100 years from now, the Vatican takes videos and re-edits it and puts in some words and makes some other things, and a lot of people will watch it and get confused. So that's very possible, because it's digital. Everything digital can be corrupted. But when you put things in hard copy formats, in stone, in paper, it's very, very difficult for it to get corrupted, because when someone corrupts it, you are going to know this is corrupted, and you will not hold that evidence as something tangible that you should use. So you're looking at 3 strikes on account. The first one strike that was ever landed was for a Selling a Q video, as I'm hovering my mouse right over it here. And under the YouTube, let's put it right, the Vatican Community Guidelines track, they said that video had nudity and sexual content. But this was the Vatican checking free speech for us, making people to understand that Selena Q was not the gender that she claimed, that she was actually male, mutilated to being female, and made to deceive a lot of the Hispanic community into almost worshiping Selena Q as a god because of the kind of music that he played, a Tejano music. That's I'm not sure if that's the way it's pronounced, but it's spelled Tejano. I think I'm correct in the way I'm pronouncing, because people have to understand that the letter J never existed until the albino Vatican from Asia took over the Vatican. The letter J never existed in history. J was invented by the Asians, because anybody that's white today or has straight hair in some form that's not in the continent of Asia, right, has Asiatic blood. You have Asiatic blood. If you're white, or as albino, as you call it, because when you say you're white, it's not in reference to any color. The word comes from the Latin word albus, which means a lack of melanin. And because white is the absence of all color, and white is not a color. So when you want to start a painting, you start it with a white background, because it's an absence of all color. So when somebody says they're white, what you're actually saying is that they're an albino. That's the word for it. Albus, from the Latin word albus. So anybody that's has straight hair, that's not in the continent of Asia, you have Asiatic blood. And the people responsible for making black people all around the world to have the look of having straight hair and pale skin happens to be the Vatican. And they can all trace their lineage down to Genghis Khan and his generals. We're going to talk about that in a short minute or so. But let's get back to the strikes that have been landed on this account. First, like I said before, the first was for Selena Q, for us letting the world know that Selena Q was not the gender she claimed. And they said that we violated YouTube's policy on nudity and sexual content. And as you can see here, there was no minute mark for that nudity on that particular video, because it did not exist. This was just the Vatican at work trying to shut us down. First, they've taken so many videos of ours down. For example, they've taken down the video that we made on what's Damian Hurley? That's the son of Elizabeth Hurley, who's a very popular actress. They took her down another video that we made. It It was that the video was called The Real Gender Not Transgender or Transsexual Series. I'm hovering my mouse right over here. On this particular video, the reason why they took it down was because we mentioned the fact that the Las Vegas shooting was a hoax to make sure that the Vatican could pass laws to take away bump stock, the ability of people to put a bump stock on their guns and turn their, manual shooting guns into a semi-automatic or an automatic weapon. So that's why they took down that particular video. But they lied about it and said that we're harassing somebody and bullying. We were not harassing and bullying anybody, because on our real transgender or transgender transsexual series, we actually make known to the world that the so-called people that they've labeled mutilated males or females or transgenders as they call it are not actually anything that they say, that they are actually the gender and sex they claim. So how could that be harassment and bullying? So this is just another sly way of the Vatican taking the channel down, because like we've mentioned before, the Constitution of the United States of America was not created by the so-called white or albino elite as we call it today, because the United States of America was founded by black monarchs or black Europeans as we would call it, who came all the way from Europe while they were fleeing from the onslaught that was happening because the Genghis Khan and his generals and his great-grandsons moved into Europe and killed a lot of Europeans, because the Europeans and the Arabians were depleted because of fighting the Crusades. That's what led to all that. For more of all this information, you have to get a book to understand real history, so you don't get caught up and lost in it. So on this particular Real Transgender Not Transsexual series, they landed the strike for us, saying that it was that's the reason why they landed the strike. It's got nothing to do with harassing and bullying anybody, because we don't meet anybody physically. We don't know you guys and you don't know us, even though we are not hiding, because a lot of people think that maybe because when we make these videos, and for example me as the narrator, I don't show my face, that I'm hiding. But we are not hiding. The whole reason is because we believe in what the Bible says, that people should live quiet lives, right? We're not trying to be any celebrity or anything like that. In fact, for my own specific case, I like my privacy. I like to be able to, walk down the street and do simple things without people walking up to me and asking me, are you Tricks of the S Traits narrator or whatever? So that's how I prefer to live my life. And the Bible says that we should live quiet lives. Quiet lives so that you're free of all problems. You want to live a simple life so you can do the things you're supposed to do, because the whole idea of being a celebrity is not God driven. That's just the truth. And let me show you that portion from the Bible before we continue on. So the first place I'm going to read to make you understand that the Bible actually says we should live very quiet lives. So you see a lot of people who are being sucked into the social media scene. They're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, just trying to make the world know how they're living. They go to a party or eat some sort of food. They travel somewhere. They paint themselves all on Instagram and Facebook just to let other people know what they're up to. It's not of God. The whole social media scene is designed by the Vatican to lead you into a way that God doesn't want you to live your life, because the Bible says we should live quiet lives so you can go about your business and do what you're supposed to be doing and live peaceably. The whole idea of being a celebrity is not of God. It's got nothing to do with that. So if you're on social media and that's what you're doing yourself more harm than good. Because you're exposing yourself, number one, to a lot of people who may not have your best interests at heart. And you're also exposing yourself to the fact that you're going to be people are going to be making you believe that their lives are far better than yours. And you're always going to be competing with other people in trying to make your lives as standing as what they portrayed it out to be. And that's what celebrities make you guys believe, that their lives are far better than yours. And so you strive every day to live up to their standards, instead of living up to the standard that God wants you to live, which is just be yourself. Compete with your own self. Try to be a better person than who you are today. So we're technically not hiding. So we just want to live a quiet lives and go about our business as we're supposed to do. So I'm going to read a few of these portions of the Bible so you guys can see that the intention to not expose yourself, and just live a quiet, peaceable life is what God is designed for us all. So if you're living contrary to that and trying to be a celebrity or be popular, then you're putting yourself in a lot of harm's way. So first of all, I'm reading from the Geneva Bible, and I'm reading from the Bible Getaway online website. So you could pause the video, copy out this link, and I'm reading from First Thessalonians, right? Reading from First Thessalonians chapter number 4, and I'm reading from verse number 11, so you can follow my mouse. And it says, "And that you study to be quiet and to meddle with your own business, and to work with your own hands as we commanded you." So you can see that you study to be quiet and to meddle with your own business. So that means you shouldn't be going, because when you're a celebrity or trying to be a celebrity, you're kind of not meddling with your business anymore. You're making your business public. Your private business is now becoming public. And when you make it public, you must always have, the public come to you. That's just the best way I can put it. So it's just like a public bathroom. Everybody goes in there. If it's a private bathroom, nobody goes in there. So once you make something public, you're inviting the public to meddle with your business. But that's not what the Bible says. It says that you study to be quiet and to meddle with your own business. So live a quiet life. So we don't want to be seen. We want to be heard. All right. So we're not hiding. And let me read a couple of more portions for you to reinforce all this. So I'm reading from this time around from 2 Thessalonians. I'm reading from 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3, and I'm reading from verse 12. It says, "Therefore them that..." Okay, let me just start reading it right. Let's start reading from verse 11, so you get this properly, so you understand how it means that you should be quiet. It says, I'm reading from verse number 11, 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3. 2 Thessalonians chapter number 3 from verse 11. "For we hear that there are some which walk among you inordinately, and walk not at all, but are busybodies." So that is what social media turns people into. It makes you to be a busybody because you're now interested in what some other people or what other people are doing or how they are living, so you can measure up your life to see if you're living as they are. So you go out of your way, you lie, and you tell stories on social media just to make people believe that you are living the great life as celebrities make us believe. And that's just the whole point right there. And you become a busybody. So reading from here, it says, "For we hear that there are some which walk among you inordinately, and walk not at all, but are busybodies. Therefore them that are such we warn and exhort by Yehoshua, that they walk with quietness and eat their own bread." So here is Paul admonishing people who are busybodies. People who are making their whole life to be a social media life so they can actually believe that they are celebrities. He's warning them by Yehoshua that they walk with quietness and eat their own bread. If you have food to eat, you don't have to display to the whole world what you're eating or how you're living, or that means you have a house over your head and you have cars and houses and you have money. You don't have to do all that. But that's what social media makes a lot of people to do. So here is Paul talking, or the apostle Shaul, as I would pronounce his real name, talking, admonishing such people that you should work with quietness and eat your own bread. Am I saying you shouldn't use social media? Of course not. I'm not saying that. But if it's not pertaining to business and you're just there just to be a busybody, displaying your private life and private details, then you're using it in an inordinate way, just like Paul says right here. Let's read another portion so we can continue on and show you the strikes that has been landed on account. So this time around, I'm reading from 1 Timothy chapter number 2. And I'm reading from verse 2, but I'm not going to read the whole entire, portion of verse 2 up to this point, because I don't want people to misunderstand this whole area here. Because when a lot of people see this, they think that Paul's talking about the fact that you should respect kings and queens, but he's not saying any of that. He's saying pray, right? prayers, intercessions is not talking about you being in respect of kings. It's just telling you to pray for them. That's a different story altogether, because a lot of people will read this and think that the Bible tells them that they should, be under authority to their kings and queens. That means respect them and not say anything or not talk about the system or against the system. That's not what the Bible says. It says pray. So, for example, I could pray for the Pope that he comes to the true knowledge of Yehoshua, and stop, all the things that they're doing which are contrary to what the Bible says. I could do that. But that doesn't mean that I should be in respect of the Pope, because he's not of God. I should not be in respect of him in any way, or the Vatican. Okay? But for me, I'd rather spend time doing the right things than doing nonsense. Why would I waste time praying for the Pope in the first place? Think about it. It's never going to change. So why would I do that? So that's being wise as well. So let me read from the portion that I want you guys to understand what I'm saying in context to what I'm saying, that the Bible says that we should live quiet lives. Don't try to be a celebrity and put all your business out there in the public through social media. You're doing yourself more harm than good, because people are going to be getting you upset all the time when you read stuff on social media, and they're going to be you're going to get upset, and meanwhile they are happy in their houses and living their lives, and you're upset all over here. Doesn't make any sense. So you expose yourself to a lot of problems by being that public instead of being a private person and enjoying your life the way you ought to. So I'm from 1 Timothy chapter number 2, and I read from the middle portion that says the B part here. As you can see right here, I'm moving my mouse right over. It says this is the B part of that verse. It says that we may lead a quiet and a peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. So the Bible does recommend that you live a quiet life. So we're not here trying to be some sort of celebrity or make known that the whole world should know who we are. We're not here for all of that. I want to be able to live my life privately, be able to walk down the street, walk down the park, sit down and have a meal if I want to, or, without everybody, running up after us and trying to say, oh, are you guys from Tricks of the S Trade and all of that. We don't want any of that. So we just want to live our lives peaceably and quietly. So let's continue on to show you the strikes that has been recently landed on account. And this might be the last video if the strikes, because it's one more strike to be landed and this channel goes down. If that happens, this might be the last video that you guys get to see on this channel, because recently, when that second strike got landed on account, they suspended the Tricks of the S Trade channel for 2 weeks from uploading any new videos. So we can't upload any new videos. So the videos we set public, if you see a video that's been set public before this time frame or after this time frame, which happens to be the 10th of June, that means we had already uploaded that video, and then we can set it public for. But this particular video, we won't be able to upload it until I think after Tuesday. Let me see what date that should be. That would be until we can't upload any videos until the 20th of June, if the channel doesn't go down by then, because between now and 20th they could put a strike on our account and Tricks of the S Trade will just shut down immediately, and you guys will not be able to watch any of those videos. But if everything goes according to plan and by the grace of Yehoshua another strike's not landed, then we can upload this video on the 20th and you guys can watch it. But if not, then you only watch it on Tricks of the S Trade 2, the alternate YouTube channel or video which I've talked about for a very long time that people should subscribe to if they're interested in still watching us, which is Tricks of the S Trade 2. So let's go back to those strikes. So the most recent strike they landed was for the Ivan Ego World of Dance video. Now, if you took a look at that particular video, we talked about the real truth of the Rwandan genocide and how the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope himself, apologized for the role that the Roman Catholic Church played in the Rwandan genocide. On every video that we have on this channel, we don't just talk, we show you facts. We show you facts, so it doesn't just seem like we're talking. And I'm going to show you one of those links that we did display on that Rwandan video. Now, on this particular strike they landed, they said that we were harassing and bullying again. We were not harassing and bullying anybody. We showed you exactly how the Pope apologized to the president of Rwanda for the Roman Catholic Church's role, because it's not just a role. They were the ones who instigated that Rwandan genocide, because you have to understand that Genghis Khan, all right, on which the current Vatican comes from, which we're going to show you some pictures later on, is that Genghis Khan was the person responsible for the annihilation of black Asians all in the Asian continent. And wherever Genghis Khan went, a lot of black people disappeared. So this is something that has been ingrained into the current elite, because they all can trace their origins down to Genghis Khan. So this is part of their nature. So this is this nature that has been brought upon a lot of so-called, a lot of white people, or albino people, I should put it, because anybody with straight hair is an albino. It has been put on a lot of albino people to hate black people. It's because it was something that Genghis Khan fostered. That's why a lot of black people disappeared all through Asia, and then when we went into Europe, that's the same thing. That's the same thing that happened in Northern Africa. So this is something of a bloodline. So they pass this onto the whole world. So the hate comes from the Vatican, comes from Genghis Khan and his generals, which are now in the Vatican, because the Vatican was never always was never always white. It was created by black woolly-haired people. It was overtaken and overrun by Genghis Khan and his generals, and now they're the ones perpetrating the hate that they brought out from Asia because of the failure of the caste system into the whole world. So, and that is what happened with the annihilation of, the Vatican, the Roman Catholic Church, setting the atmosphere and the tone for the Rwandan genocide. And we showed that the Pope himself apologized for this. And let me find you guys that link, so it's not just doesn't just seem like we're talking. Let me find you the link. So here is the link right here. All right, you could pause the video at any point in time and copy out this link right there and read up on it. So it doesn't look like we just tell you stories. It actually says here, Newsweek, and it says here, Pope apologizes for Catholic Church's role in Rwandan genocide in Kagame meeting. Kagame here is the president of Rwanda, and this happened to be on the 20th of March 2017 at 11:56 a.m. as you can read right here. So this is the Newsweek apology for that. Okay, it said Rwandan's President Paul Kagame is welcomed by Pope Francis during a private meeting at the Vatican March 20th. The Pope apologized for the Catholic Church's role in the Rwandan genocide, and the Pope here is a great-grandson of Genghis Khan, because that's just fact. Okay, so they landed a strike on account for that particular for the video that we made showing that the Roman Catholic Church, as it says here, was responsible for the Rwandan genocide. So going back to that strike on account, so the strike there, that's the reason why they took down the Ivan Ego video. And they would say, I wonder who they said we were harassing and bullying, because in that particular video we showed that little boy which was dancing on I think, what was the show called? The show was called World of Dance. There was somebody who was very, very popular, a little mutilated boy, which they passed around as a girl, saying that just, breaks, I just feel so much pain for that child. Was paraded around as a little girl, and we just showed you the depth of evil in which the Vatican is perpetuating on the world, that they could parade around this little boy. And so many of the presenters in that particular video were parading around that little boy and mutilated little boy as a girl, and we showed all that on that Ivan Ego video. So the main reason why they landed that strike was because it's mostly about the Rwandan genocide, because they don't want the public to know that the Roman Catholic Church's role was in the Rwandan genocide, because if you notice the meeting or that apology that the Pope made, it was made in private. It wasn't in public. Let me see if I can pull that up again for you guys to see. So you can see right here it says private meeting. It's not a public meeting. So they don't want, even this Newsweek article was also, it would never have been like made to be in a hard copy format. So that means this news article would only have existed on Newsweek in online. It would not exist in like if you in a hard copy format of a Newsweek magazine. It was only made online because this meeting was private. So the Pope here apologized to his own stooge, because Kagame here is a stooge of the Vatican. Kagame is a Tutsi, and people don't understand the history of Africa so much. That's why we put all this information in the book. The Tutsis are Ethiopians. So a lot of people that are going by so many different ethnicities in a part of Rwanda here, a part of the Congo, a part of Chad, a part of Mali, and a part of Nigeria are Ethiopians. They are not ethnically the people who are of that ethnicity, because they took it over. And what usually happens when back in those days, and it's still the same thing that goes on today, when there is a war, okay, and people are overtaking territories, it's usually the men that go to war. So they leave their families and their wives at home. So when you go into a war and you fight with other men, when you kill those men, you take their wives, all right, as your own wives, and you procreate with them. And when you procreate with them, the women will always have their ethnicity and language. So the children born will speak of the same ethnicity and language, even though their phenotypes and genotypes have been changed because the father is of a different ethnicity. So that's how, ethnicities are taken over, and they can look like the ethnicity of the father. But and meanwhile they maintain the language and the culture, because it's the women who do that. So most of this people from different ethnic tribes in Africa especially are not really the people who were always of that ethnic tribe, because they were taken over when the Ethiopian kingdom was taking over Africa from another kingdom. When you get a book, you understand all that. So here is the Pope making a private apology to another stooge in Kagame here, which he owns, all right? And privately, just making it private because they don't want the public to know that this is what really happened. And that's the reason why the Vatican landed that strike on account. So after the strike was landed, we've been preventing from having any uploads, like I said. So this video, even though it's made on the 10th, you guys may not watch it. If you watch it eventually, or if the channel is not really shut down, then you watch it sometime after, I think, the 20th of June or thereabout. If not, then you guys are going to be able to watch it on Tricks of the S Trade to the alternate YouTube channel. So that's what I wanted to share with you for now. But let's get into looking at today's feature and talking about a few other things so we can wrap up this long video as it looks to be. Let's go. So the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about the ad that we recently made for a book, The Concealed Mystery. On this particular video, I did leave a comment because I left a comment about the video itself, and let me see if I can read that comment to you in a short minute. So on this particular comment of the video, I said, I wish people had eyes to see the clues and know the deep significance of every word in this video ad for the book, but they will only look and not see with their brains. Now, why did I leave this comment? The video that we made here for this particular, for our book, The Concealed Mystery, like I'm hovering my mouse right over here, was made to make people understand, a lot of things, because each picture, one after the other, the sequence of the pictures, the sequence of the words always means something. Because we're trying to make people to understand how to watch movies, or when you go to a movie theater to watch a movie, so you understand the idea of the movie and how and what each movie is trying to tell you. Is even the more reason why we're featuring who we're featuring on this particular video today, which we'll show later on. So this particular video that you're looking at, ad for the book, has so many meanings to it, which I wish people would see. Because when you watch a movie, for example, you go to a movie theater and you pick up a movie to watch, there is a reason why the character is dressed the way they are. There's a reason why the character's hair and makeup is the way they are. There's a reason for the color, the clothing color. For example, let's say the character is wearing brown, black, blue. There is a reason why that character is dressed the way they are, in whatsoever color the cloak comes in. There is a reason why the camera turns from left to right in your movies. There's a reason why the camera pans. There's a reason why each picture in the movie is presented one after the other in maybe some sort of color or the other. There's a reason for the words that those characters speak. They all try to convey something. So when you're going to watch a movie, you're not just watching a movie, you're watching an experience which a lot of people won't get, because their minds, they're looking with their eyes and not seeing with their brains. So in this particular video that we made for a book, the preview ad for the book, we showed a picture of Pope Francis here. And if I play this video, right? If I play this video after Pope Francis, the next picture that's going to come up is going to be a picture of a Genghis Khan. Now, a lot of people might watch through the video and not understand, why did the picture of Genghis Khan come after the picture of the Pope? The reason why is because I wanted you guys to see the resemblance that Pope Francis here has to Genghis Khan, which a lot of people would not see. So let me play this video clip from that particular spot, and then I'll show you the pictures of Genghis Khan and Pope Francis side by side for you to understand what we're looking at. So I'll play the video from here. So that's a picture of Genghis Khan right there. I want you guys to take a good look. And then this is a picture of Pope Francis. So here is a side-by-side comparison of Pope Francis with Genghis Khan. If you guys look, the facial features of both Pope Francis and Genghis Khan are the same. Even the same ears. They have the same ears, the same lips. The only difference is like the eyes are not the Asiatic or Mongoloid eyes that Genghis Khan has here, because, as the Asians moved into, as they were moving from Asia and inbreeding and procreating with a lot of, black people, the Asian features of the eyes got lost. There's something they saw, sorry to say, there was something they call, I think is it the epica? Let me know. Hold on a second. Let me find out what is the name that makes, the name for the eyelid, because what makes Asian have those Asian eyes is because of the eyelid around the edges right here are not folded properly. So it makes them to have that, slantness to it. So let me get the proper name for that fold around the eyelid to let you guys know what makes Asians to be Asians. So what makes Asian eyes to have Asian eyes is what they call epicanthic fold and a monolith. So an epicanthic fold would be the fold around the lower edge of the eye right here, and the monolith will be something around. It's almost the same thing. So monolith just means that instead of having a regular like eyebrow and a skin fold, the monolith, the upper lid of the eye covers that eyelid below here and turns it into a very slanting looking eye and have what we call the Asian eyes. Now, one thing you guys have to understand is like the truth to be told, in all honesty and reality, is that all females have Asian eyes. That's just the truth, because throughout history, that's how it's always been. All females in the world, irrespective of your ethnicity and nationality, have Asian eyes. But we don't have too much time to explain that on this particular video, but we'll explain it later on. It's only the males that have different kinds of eyelids. Now, the reason why the Asian eyes are crept into the male population rather in Asia is because of inbreeding. So it caused the female eyes not to remain separate, and then the males, which have always a different type of eyelids and eye features, to now also have the Asian eyes of having the epicanthic fold and a monolid. We'll explain that all later in a video if the channel is still up. So let's move on. So before moving on, I just wanted to say that this undeniably shows you that the popes are great-grandsons of Genghis Khan, because like we've always said, the people in the Vatican now can all trace their lineage down to Genghis Khan and his generals, and they want to remain in this albinic state always, to trace their lineage to Genghis Khan and his generals. So that's what they're trying to do, and they need racism to make that happen so that they can have enough population who looks like them to keep them in power. So everybody that's elite in this world can all trace their origins to Genghis Khan and his generals, because this is the first civilization in all of human history to come from Asia and not African, as it's always been. Oh, so let's continue on and talk about a few more other things before we can get into the person we're going to feature in this particular video and finish it off. So if you've been on Tricks of the S-Trade channel for a very long time, there's a video that we once made, and we talked about the fact that a lot of these transgenders in the future is going to get more difficult to be able to spot transgenders, because in the future the Vatican is going to try to set up some sort of, let's say, decency act. Decency act maybe would require that maybe if you're a celebrity or somebody, that you can be wearing like you can be seen in pictures of wearing like bikini or swim trunks or shorts, those kind of things. So it gets very difficult for you to be able to spot these transgenders. We talked about that in one of the videos. I can't remember which one it is at this point in time. So while watching the news one of these days, and I saw a very interesting article. It says the article says here, do we really need the Miss America pageant anymore? But when you get into the video, you find out that it's really not talking about the Miss America pageant, if we need it anymore. It's talking about the fact that they want to as of today, officially, we think at the making of this video, that they want to ban how women, especially in the Miss America pageant and so many other contests around the world, come up in swimwear or bikini, because each a beauty contestant has to come out with a bikini or a swimwear for them to judge the figure of that beauty contestant. So right now, because as we know, the Vatican owns everything, and even the contests that we watch every day. And we've featured a lot of beauty contestants on our channel not being the gender that they claim. So I think one of those beauty contestants was Staniszewski? Let me try to see if I can get the names right. Some of those beauty contestants that we've featured on our channel. So some of the beauty contestants we featured on our channel, which are not the gender they claim, happen to be Nana Merriweather. Nana Merriweather is a beauty contestant. I think she was from Miss Virginia or so, something like that. And also Casey Staniszewski. Casey Staniszewski, we've also featured on our channel, and we've also featured Kenya Moore. So those are some of the beauty contestants that we've featured on our channel, showing people that they were not the gender that they claimed. And So recently, because it's in the bikini, when they come out in the bikini, then you can actually see if someone's either the gender they claim or not, or is a mutilated man posing around as a female, which the Vatican has made so many beauty contestants over the years to be and actually win the beauty competitions, because everything is rigged. It's rigged by the Vatican to fit whatever purpose they think is necessary for. So because of that, they're trying to ban the swimsuit part of the beauty competitions, so that people will not have a good look. The people who have their eyes open and they can see with their brain, to not see that these people are not the gender they claimed. And I'll play this short clip for you to see how that is gonna go about. If the clip has any audio issues for you to hear this particular story, because I'll be talking over the stories as well, I've tried to close caption it as much as possible so you guys can hear the words. But if you're interested in watching the video yourself, please pause the video, copy out this link, is on YouTube, or just type in "do we really need the Miss America pageant anymore" into a YouTube search, and this video will come up by Fox News, which is owned by the Vatican. You guys can watch that. So let's play this clip, and I'll be talking over it and pausing just to let you know what they're trying to say.
This evening, tonight, they are calling it now a competition and not a pageant. That is the new motto of the Miss America organization, which announced today that they are banishing the signature bikini portion of the pageant. Instead, contestants will now take part in a live interactive session with the judges, and the organization is also getting rid of the evening gown portion of the competition. What is going to be left? Telling women that they should wear whatever makes them real comfortable. I think some people would show up in sweatpants in that case. Is this enough, or is this changes that shouldn't be happening? Shannon Bream, our good friend, joins us tonight. It's so great to be here with Tucker and Shannon and all these great people. She's Fox News at Night, of course, and a former Miss America contestant. Yeah. Miss Virginia, Miss Florida. I know you did not want to show any pictures of you from the pageants tonight, but let me tell you something.
We might have found some. I don't know.
No, I mean, Shannon is gorgeous, and you won those contests for a very good reason, because you had it all going on. But it's very interesting to look back and see those. And I want to ask you this. So why do you not want to show them? You know what I mean? What does that say about where
It's so funny because it was such a different time in my life, and I'm completely proud of it. I love it. The Miss America pageant for me was a godsend, because I won scholarship money through that put me through school, undergrad, and a lot of my law school as well. And I didn't come from a family that had a lot of money and a lot of means. We were hardworking, a teacher, and my dad was a cop. And so for me, this was a really fun way to stretch myself. It was terrifying at times, but it really paid for school for me. So it was a great experience for me. I'm not sure anyone wants to see my swimsuit pictures now.
Oh, please. Let me tell you something. I was from New Jersey, where pageants were really not that big. But to win Miss Florida and Miss Virginia, with all these gorgeous girls in Florida and Virginia. So, I mean, you did really, really well with it. But, I do have to ask myself, are we past this whole thing as a society? As women, is this really, is there another way to have a good scholarship contest in this country rather than do this? Or it should all be about, okay, they're gorgeous, just like The Bachelor and all the other stuff that's on TV. There's merit in beauty, and that's a special, attribute as well.
Well, it's interesting because Miss America started out years ago in the 20s on the boardwalk there in New Jersey, in Atlantic City. It was a swimsuit contest that the Chamber of Commerce, the local business people, came up with to keep people in town for another week or two around Labor Day. It was a really big event, and it's evolved over time. So it's not just about swimsuit. Then they added talent and interview and evening gown and all these other things. Swimsuit now is still just a very tiny portion. It's going away completely, but it becomes such a small portion. I don't know that it really decided the winner ever anyway. So if they think it's a better idea now to say we want people of all different shapes and sizes, and people who may not have considered the pageant before, it's going to be a competition now. It's going to be something different, and we want more people to be included. I think that's interesting. I'm all about tradition, and when I competed, it taught me a lot about taking care of myself, cleaning up my college diet, and learning how to work out. And it was grueling, a year of serving as Miss Virginia, leading into the Miss America pageant. I was on the road all the time.
Yeah, let me tell you, you cleaned up your college diet, because I would not have cleaned up from my college diet the way that she did.
I look 90 years old. I'm 19 going on 90 in that blue dress.
That was the 80s, honey. That's just like, you know what? Everybody looked like they were decades older than they actually were.
Woo!
Oh, Maggie, you look beautiful. So, I just want to get your thoughts on this as well quickly before we go, because also tonight, 4 former Houston Texans cheerleaders are suing the league for better pay and equal treatment, the women delivering their demands directly to the NFL commissioner, Roger Goodell. Watch this.
We hope that by delivering this letter to Roger Goodell today, that he takes this seriously and understands that we just want to be respected and treated fairly and compensated properly for the work that we do.
They're all someone's daughters. They work hard. They care. They love the NFL. Let's see a little love coming back to them in terms of pay equity and working conditions.
Gotta love Gloria Allred. But there again, it's like, do we need cheerleaders on the sideline cheering? Is this something that women should be aspiring to at this stage of the game?
Also in my past, I used to be a labor and employment lawyer, so I think this is a really interesting case. Yeah. Now, you can't talk about equity with the players. Yes, they're making millions of dollars a year, but they're also bringing in millions of dollars a year. Those are the reason that people are buying tickets or to come to see them. Now, if these women are alleging that they were paid minimum wage at times, and then they were asked to go to appearances that they never got paid for, but the teams got paid for to have them there. Those are some interesting questions. You're never going to make what an NFL player is going to make, and you shouldn't make anywhere near what they're making. But if they're not being paid for hours they worked, as a former labor and employment attorney, that does concern me.
Oh, absolutely. They're being told, you know what, if you don't want to do it, somebody else will.
Right.
We have a whole bunch of people who are dying to have your job, which is always a bad employment argument.
Yeah. So I get where they're coming from. She even has her props. I'll give it to her. She's always got a prop,
Shannon, thank you so much.
Good to see
you. Got it all going on. Even if you didn't win all those pageants, you're making the rest of us feel like, total slackers.
Right. We'll get out our old pictures and we'll put them out there on Twitter, Martha and I. I'll see you at 11.
Thank you, Shannon. See you.
So that's the video I wanted to show you guys to see how, or make you see how sly the Vatican has become. Because first of all, they started the Me Too hashtag. The Me Too hashtag, which was started because of the Harvey Weinstein case. And the Harvey Weinstein case was started because a lot of people were starting to notice that a lot of people with brains were starting to see that the Vatican is very, very good at trying to make, black people, especially black leaders, to look like a ridicule, to look like they are child molesters and, rapists, that they're always trying to destroy the image of every black man that's been in power or somebody that have put in power over a period of time, so that people will never, ever look up to any black person as being something worthwhile to be looked into, to being, a leader in society. And all that boils down to the fact that the devil so much is trying to destroy the image of Yehoshua, so that you could never ever believe that we as a human race are all black, and that Yehoshua is a black man as well. So they started the Harvey Weinstein case as a distraction and a diversion from people getting to the point of noticing that, why is all this always happening to black males? Why don't we find any, so-called white men or albinos, as we call it, image being destroyed so much? It's always the image of a black man. So for example, they destroyed the image of Michael Jackson. They called him a rapist throughout the years, even though they portrayed him to be a white man by bleaching his skin and straightening his hair. They destroyed the image of so many black men you can mention. Was it Tupac Shakur? His image was destroyed. He was a rapist. Mike Tyson, the same case. He was destroyed. He was a rapist. Even with with Martin Luther King, over the years they tried to smear his name by saying that he was having an extramarital affair outside of his family. They did that successfully as well. Even they tried to portray that in the movie called Selma. Same goes with somebody who doesn't think that he's black. His name happens to be Tiger Woods. Then it's always one black male after the other. So people were starting to take notice of that a black man's image is always destroyed. And the more reason why Bill Cosby caught them off guard is because Bill Cosby would have died a legend. I was saying before, they were trying to Bill Cosby took them off guard because Bill Cosby was getting old. He would have died a legend and would have been something, an outstanding person in the society, which a lot of people could look up to as a black man. And then they said, oh no, this one is going to go and he's going to die a legend and he has nothing in his image, so we better find something real quick and stick on to him so that he doesn't die the legend. that great outstanding man, which was promoting a lot of like moral value, moral values and familyhood for the American society. So they started this whirlwind in which a lot of women came out and said that Bill Cosby had been molesting them over the years. And a lot of people were now asking questions. Why Bill Cosby? Bill Cosby, we've never heard of any scandal throughout his acting career days and everything. So why now? Why didn't this woman speak up 30 years ago when Bill Cosby was doing so? Why did all of them decide to speak at the same time? So because a lot of people were asking these questions, and we're starting to notice this trend that it's always happening, that the black man's image is always being ridiculed and being, made to be such a very atrocious image. They were starting to not believe the story. So they now brought about Harvey Weinstein. In the same manner, Harvey Weinstein being a producer in Hollywood, an outstanding guy and everything that you could imagine that's good, a lot of women came out and then they started talking about the fact that Harvey Weinstein had been abusing them for years, and then actors and actresses and everybody came out, all that as a diversion. So people who were starting to think that it's always happening to black males now switched from thinking about that to saying, oh, it's a Hollywood thing. Everybody in Hollywood does that. This is what the producers do. And they propagated that lie to us. And now, so everybody has forgotten about the fact that they're always trying to rubbish the image of black males into thinking that it's a whole Hollywood thing now. So the black thing is lost. So people won't even think about it in the next couple of years. Let's say, for example, another black outstanding man is now put on the pedestal for abusing women throughout his career years. So that's what's happening here. All this is a diversion. So because of this diversion, the Me Too hashtag started, and now they're trying to use this into going into so many other avenues. For example, covering up the fact that a lot of beauty queens, like we have shown you, are not actually beauty queens but beauty kings. And a lot of people who have been noticing in the swimsuit edition of each Miss America pageant that some of these women didn't have the bodies and the structure and the primary skeletal structure that fits to be a woman. A lot of people were starting to take notice of that, and they would always get into this swimsuit pictures and spot the differences. So now they want to use this and cover up that very well, so people would have no idea that a lot of beauty queens and a lot of celebrities who love wearing swimsuits are not the gender they claim. So this is what this is all about. So I just wanted to throw this out there so you guys can know what's going on, and let's continue on. And I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover about. Let's continue on and show you who the main feature of today's video is, so we can wrap up this video. And sorry for it for being a long video. It's just what it is. We always have to tell you the truth so you guys can know the truth. And then before I even move on, if you're interested in watching the Selling a Q video, please look for the Bono video on the channel. Or we have videos somewhere or the other. There are some subscribers who are doing great jobs of re-uploading our videos. The channel name is called Concept 2, and let me just point you to that channel. That subscriber has a lot of videos up there as well. So the channel name, he's a great subscriber. He's uploading a lot of our videos. It's called Concept 2 right here. I don't know if the channel is going to remain that name because it's now not an official name because he doesn't have a lot of subscribers. You can go on here and you find most of the videos. So just type in Concept 2 on your YouTube search and there's going to come up, and you can actually subscribe to this channel and watch some of the videos up there as well. Because if this channel goes down, we're not sure if we're going to be uploading new videos to the new channel, which we already asked you guys to subscribe to. So most of our old videos will be on here. And then you can subscribe to Tricks of the S-Trade 2. So you just get on your search engine and just type in like this, Tricks of the S-Trade 2, and you hit enter, and this is going to come. Let me see, Tricks of the S-Trade. Let me see if I can find the second channel up here as well. it's not showing. Let me see if I typed it right, so you guys can type it right as well. Okay, here. So it's going to be one word, Tricks of the S Trade 2, and this channel is going to come up, and you can subscribe to the second channel because we'll be uploading just new videos to this channel. I don't think we'll be uploading any old videos. If Tricks of the S Trade, the first channel here, goes down, we'll be uploading new videos, so all our older videos will not be available to watch. I'm sorry about that, but for now, that's what it looks like. We might change that in the future and upload some older videos up there, but we do not know yet. But we'll be uploading the newest videos up here, so please do that, and let's continue on talking about what we wanted to talk about today and feature who we're featuring. So since this particular video is called The Real Da Vinci Code, let's just take a look at the Da Vinci Code and see what Da Vinci Code was all about. You can pause the video at any point in time and copy out the link, or just get in your search engine and type in the Da Vinci Code, and something will come up here about Da Vinci. So Da Vinci Code was a novel written by Dan Brown. The Da Vinci Code is a 2003 mystery thriller novel by Dan Brown. It follows symbologist Robert Landon. What does it mean to be a symbologist? Symbologist here means that you understand that everything around you is a symbol, because you have to understand, when we write letters like you're reading right now, what you're reading are symbols. All right, so if everything is a symbol, that means everything has a language. So as you can see right here, the Vatican, the Da Vinci Code, has a Vatican code of numbers because it was released in 2003. The Vatican would have released this novel specifically because when the Vatican wants to do things, they follow a timeline, and they organize it so good so that you guys don't understand that they are the ones behind it, because they wanted to bring a lot of these stories to TV and paint the Roman Catholic Church as the good guys, so you guys wouldn't know that the Vatican is the one behind everything that's happening in this world, and you just think them merely as a religious institution with little or no powers. So they designed all of this, and they've been doing this for a very long time, in bringing, you know, so many stories to TV that paints the Roman Catholic Church as the great institution which they want us to believe that is a religious institution. The Roman Catholic Church has nothing to do with religion. It's a control and power structure. So this Da Vinci Code novel was released in 2003. As you can see, the Vatican Code of Numbers right here, 2 times 3, 6, and 3 there being a multiple of 6. Okay, if you're interested in knowing a lot about the Vatican Code of Numbers, please get on the channel and look for the Lisa Lopes video. I think it's pronounced Lisa Lopez, but it's spelled L-O-P-E-S, and it will give you instructions. It will give you a lot of details on the Vatican Code of Numbers and how to understand it. And please, people, when you're reading, when you see the Vatican Code of Numbers, or you see numbers around you, I want you guys to read too much into it. All what we're trying to let you understand is that these numbers are not there by accident, that they're deliberately planted by the Vatican because they want this stuff to have some sort of spiritual connotation or spiritual meaning for these numbers. That's all what it is. So don't get your head all wrapped around numbers and try to get into reading numbers. It's demonic, so don't do that. Okay, so look for the Vatican Code of Numbers on the channel or in the Lisa Lopes video. We have a playlist called Vatican Code of Numbers if the channel is still up, or get our book for the most complete details so you can understand everything. So let's read a little bit into this Da Vinci Code to see what it was all about. So a lot of the things that we talk about on this channel make sense to you. It says, meanwhile, we're in no way transvestigating Dan Brown. Okay, Dan Brown is not under any transvestigation whatsoever. We're just telling you something. We're trying to lead this particular video somewhere so you guys can understand, so you guys could know who we're going to feature. All right, so that's why we're calling it The Real Da Vinci Code. So the plot for the Da Vinci Code goes on to say here that Louvre curator and Priory of Sion Grandmaster Jacques Sonieres is fatally shot one night at the museum by an albino Catholic monk named Silas. So In this Vatican Da Vinci Code, since the Vatican knows that they are really an albino Vatican because they have a lack of melanin, and the word white comes from the Latin word albus, which means a lack of melanin, and they don't want people to understand that their origins are not from Europe, that they are Asians who overtook Europe and overtook the Vatican. They try to tell you so many of these stories so that you guys think that when you watched the movie The Da Vinci Code and saw that Catholic monk, I think he was acted out by what was the name of that Catholic person who acted this particular who acted as Silas? Let me find out so we can talk some more about him. So the guy who acted Silas in the Da Vinci Code was named Paul Bettany. All right, Paul Bettany acted that role as Silas in the movie Da Vinci Code, which we just read about here. That Silas was shot. That the scene started with somebody being shot by a Catholic monk named Silas. Now, I want to pull up the picture of Silas for you guys to see how the Vatican tries to hide history. So when people think of albinism, this is what they're going to think about. So let me pull up a picture of Silas from the Da Vinci Code. Now, I want you guys to take a good look at this, all right? This is a picture of Silas in the Da Vinci Code. This is actually the screenshots from the movie The Da Vinci Code, in which Silas here was played by Paul Bettany. I want you guys to take a good look at what they want you to think is albinism, because a lot of people don't understand what they're seeing because they're not thinking with their brain, okay? They're telling you that Paul Bettany, or Silas, right, in the movie Da Vinci Code was an albino. And what are the features of albinism that they're showing you here? The hair is blonde, the eyes are rather gray or blue, and the skin is very pale, which is always symbolic of most people around the world who label themselves white. So what were they trying to tell you in essence is that if you're white, then you're an albino, because Paul here, or Silas, or rather say Paul Bettany, in the movie The Da Vinci Code was an albino. So if you're interested in all that, please get on the channel and look for the series called The Myth of Whiteness to understand everything else that was in that particular movie. But let's go back into the Da Vinci Code again and read some more things. It says here, Jacques Sanre is fairly shot one night at the museum by an albino Catholic monk named Silas, who is working on behalf of someone he knows only as the teacher, who wishes to discover the location of the keystone, an item crucial in the search for the Holy Grail. Let's read on a little bit more. What else I want you to take notice of? But you can go watch the Da Vinci Code, and if you understood whatsoever I've told you watching this video, that there's a reason why, let's say, a character in a movie is dressed the way they are, their clothes are colored the way they are, the words they say, how the pictures are placed, and what's around them, then when you start watching movies, you will understand the symbology, because symbology are words and letters and what they're actually trying to convey to you. So then you don't just watch with your eyes only, but you're watching with your brain at work. Because when you read this whole story of the Da Vinci Code, it's more or less trying to tell you the history of Genghis Khan and his generals, and how they came into Asia and are now in the Vatican ruling the world. A lot of people didn't get that from watching the Da Vinci Code. But go back and watch it again and you'll understand the whole truth. So who are we featuring today is the question that we have to ask at this point in time. Who are we featuring on today's video? Let's find out. So the person we're featuring on today's video happens to be Ron Howard, the director of the Da Vinci Code. Now remember, the Da Vinci Code was released in 2003, sorry to say, as a novel, 2003. And it came onto the big screen in 2006. Can you guys see the symbology there? The novel was released in 2003, and 3 years after that, it came onto the big screen in 2006. So what do you think is happening right there? From 2003, a Vatican Code, to 2006, 2 sixes. Because there's a reason why everything has to be in multiples of 3, which is designed by the Vatican. For more complete details, we won't have time to explain all of that. Please get a book so you understand everything. So getting back to Ron Howard. Ron Howard here was born, Ronald William Howard, born March 1st. A Vatican Code of Number is right there at work, 1954. Is an American actor and filmmaker. Howard is best known for playing 2 high-profile roles in television sitcoms in his youth and directing a number of successful feature films later in his career. Ronald Howard here is a direct stooge of the Vatican, just like Dan Brown, who wrote the novel. Because you have to understand, the Vatican creates everything. Then they just put these faces on for you guys to make you believe that these individuals actually created all these things. So for example, you're going to be thinking that Ronald William Howard here, or Ron Howard, was actually the guy who produced and directed the movie the Da Vinci Code, and you're also going to think that Dan Brown was actually the writer of the novel the Da Vinci Code. But no, it's all written by the Vatican. Then they use proxies like this to produce it and to make you guys believe that this came from this individual. So you don't understand that it's the Vatican always behind it. So let's read into Ronald Howard, or Ron Howard's early life. He said Howard was born in Duncan, Oklahoma, 1954, the eldest son of Jean Spiegel Howard, 1927-2000 actress, and Rance Howard, a director, writer, and actor. He was German, English, Scottish, Irish, and Dutch ancestry. His father was born in Sarnia, Beckenholm, and had taken the stage name Howard by 1948 for his acting career. Rance Howard was serving 3 years in the United States Air Force. So I've talked about the fact that the Vatican, rather, uses the military. That everything that we watch, eat, sleep on, and do is designed by the military. The military is not just those guys who go to Iraq and fight the wars. Everything that has to do with our lives is organized by the military, and the Vatican directly runs the military. So that's why everything around, when you start reading into the histories of, the people behind whatever you're using, whatever you're eating on, you find out that they have some sort of military affiliation, because the military is fully run by the Vatican. So that's why it shows up here that the father of Ron Howard, right, was serving, and they put a Vatican Code of Numbers here for you to understand that it's one of them. This is for people, this is for high-minded people who can pick up the histories and understand who they are reading about and how it applies to them. This is all coded, hidden mysteries for the people in the Vatican to know who their people are. They tell you here that Rance Howard was serving 3 years in the United States Air Force at the time of Ron's birth. Let's keep on reading. It says the family moved to Hollywood in 1958, a year before the birth of his younger brother Clint Howard. They rented a house on the block south of the Silu Studios, where Andy Griffith Show was later filmed. So they're trying to make you believe in Ron Howard here and how he got onto the Andy Griffith Show, which a lot of people came to know Ron Howard from, so that you can think that all this is happening naturally without you seeing that the hidden hands of the Vatican have been directing Ron Howard's life right from the get-go, so they could use her to bring on to us such great movies, so we can organically accept all this storytelling, which is always shaping our minds into the new world order. That's the best way I can explain it. So let's keep on reading. It says they rented a house on the block south of the Silu Studios, where the Andy Griffith Show was later filmed. They lived in Hollywood for at least 3 years. They put another Vatican Code there before moving to Burbank. Let's read something else so you can understand that at the end of the day, the threes are always showing, to show you that this person is symbolically owned by the Vatican, because a lot of threes have shown up on this particular story of Ron Howard right here. I think we should end there, and then let's just get into the transvestigation of Ron Howard, because this video has been going on for a little bit long and we want to end it real quick. So let's go. if you're first time subscriber to the channel and you've watched the video up to this point in time, we advise that you get on the channel and watch the primer video first. We'll make this primer video also available on Tricks of the Asteroid 2 and the whole playlist. So get on the channel and look for the primer video. The primer video will show you, make you understand a lot of things, give you a basic foundation for understanding most of the videos that you watch on our channel, so you don't get confused. When you watch any video on this particular channel, there's always a link in the description section. I'm hovering my mouse right over it, sorry to say. When you click on that link, it's going to take you to a document. The document is called Male versus Female Visual Differences. We advise that you download this document and you study it for yourself, so you can know the physical differences, especially the primary difference which lies in the skeletal structure between males and females. And don't get fixated on the secondary features, because the secondary features are secondary. That means it can be changed. That's why something is secondary. Secondary means it can be changed, but primary means that is the foundation for all things. So on our channel, you can't go off the secondary features of someone and label someone as a transgender. That means you can't say someone has long arms, long torsos, brow bossing, a brow ridge, a slanting forehead, an Adam's apple, facial hair, an Adonis belt, and label someone to be a transgender based on that, because all those things are secondary. They are not primary. The primary determines the secondary in the correct order. So you have to base your transvestigation and calling someone a transgender on channel based on the primary skeletal difference. Otherwise, you'll be considered to be slandering and you're going to get blocked or added to a spam message box. So you always have to stick your identification for the gender based on the primary skeletal difference and not the secondary skeletal difference. So when we talk about this primary skeletal difference, you have to understand that a female is designed to give birth, because that's what differentiates the sexes: the ability of a woman to give birth and the male not being able to do so. So a female is designed to give birth, and because of that, a female has an arch in her back. She has a pelvis that's tilted forward and her hips are below her crotch. Okay, that's what makes a woman and gives her the ability to give birth, while a male is not designed to give birth, and because of that, a male has a straight pelvis, has no arch in his back, and his back is straight up and down or shaped like a D or a P. So that's how you base your identification for the gender, because if you go basing your identification based on the secondary male characteristics, which can be changed, which can be changed through taking of hormones, and especially also that the fact that the Vatican feeds us hormones. So right from childhood, our hormones are out of whack, making us not to look like the gender. Some of us not to look like the gender we claim, in the sense that, for example, you see that females have facial hair, they might grow an Adam's apple, and they might have deep voices like a male, but the skeletal structure remains female. And sometimes you find out that with males have very effeminate voices, they have no facial hair, and then they sometimes have a little bit of breast tissue, but the skeletal structure still remains male, because you are determined. Your sex is determined by your skeletal structure, not by your secondary or male and female characteristics. That's why from dead remains of human bones, we can identify the sexes, because the skeleton determines the sex. All right. So let's get into this document so we can get on with the transvestigation of Ron Howard, which we're featuring today. As you can see right here, this lady, this is a picture, an image of a female to the left of my screen. The female has an arch in her back. Why does a woman have an arch in her back? Because her pelvis is tilted forward. Why is the pelvis tilted forward? So the baby can stay inside the pelvic region comfortably and not slip out of the womb for 9 months of conception that the baby goes through before the baby is born into this world. So that's why a female has an arch in her back. Depending on where you draw the arch from, if you draw it from below the shoulder blades, it's going to form a deep C arch in the back. If you draw it from high above the shoulder blades, it's going to form an S-shaped spine in the back. So remember, those two letters for a female: an S or a C-shaped back. For males, males do not have any arch in their back because the pelvis is straight. Okay, so a man's back is going to be straight. If a man's back wants to arch, it's going to arch outwards into the shape of a D, as you can see right here, or a P, but a straight back with no arch before it gets into the pelvis. So the two letters you have to remember for a man's back is a D or a P. I scroll further into the document just to show you that a female's back will always arch much more. As you can see right here, here is a female kneeling down. She has an arch in her back because her pelvis is tilted forward. That's why a female's back is much more flexible than that of a man, because of that flexible, spine and the arch in the back. Just to show you that it doesn't matter the size of the female, if she's big, tall or small, her ethnicity doesn't count. There's always going to be an arch in a woman's back. As you can see right here, there's a big female to the left of a screen, arch in the back, her pelvis is tilted forward. A small female to the right of a screen, arch in the back, and the pelvis is tilted forward. It doesn't matter if the female's got muscles, she's lifting a ton of weights. There's always going to be an arch in a female's back. As you can see right here, muscular female, arch in the back, pelvis is still tilted forward. Another muscular female right here. Here's a muscular female right here, arch in the back, and a pelvis is tilted forward, because nothing can change the skeletal structure of a male to a female or a female to a male once it's been determined at conception. No amount of drugs that you can administer to that fetus can change the skeletal structure. There is no such thing as an androgynous skeletal structure, because the structure is always going to be either male or female. There is no such thing as hermaphrodites. That is a lie. You're either male or you're female in human beings. So always remember that. So let's go and play one more important clip. The most important aspect of all this, which happens to be the hips, because the hips of a woman are designed for childbirth, and that of a man is not, because a man will never give birth. Let's go. So this short clip, sorry to say, is going to show you exactly where the location of the female hip is. So this is how all females' clothes are measured, and when clothes are sewn around the world and brought to many different countries, it fits the females, because the location of the female hip is not varying, it's not different across ethnicities, but is the same with every female, and is going to be below the crotch. So I play this clip for you to see that. As you can see right here, the tape goes round and the location of the female hip is below the crotch. So it doesn't really matter if the female has shoulders wider than her hips. That does not make her male. It's the location of the hip in the body that determines if you're male or female. For males, it's above the crotch. For females, it's below the crotch, as you can see here as the tape goes round. So this female is going to turn around so you can see from the back where the location of the hip is. And as you can see right here, the location of the female hip is slightly above the bum line but below the crotch. So because the female is designed to give birth, half the torso of a female is her butt. So a female's weight, for example, starts just slightly up below her rib cage or slightly above her navel. So from that whole area down is the female butt. So that's why a female has a longer butt and also a wider butt, because of the wider pubic arch that a female has. The pubic arch is the space in between your thighs, and for females it's wider so that a baby can come out of the womb comfortably. So because of that wider pubic arch, everything in the pelvis of a female is pushed further apart. Hence, the female hip is further apart in the body and below the crotch. So if you ever try to figure out if someone is male or female, and you're having difficulty looking at the pictures from the back, try to see if you have difficulty looking at the pictures from the front, try to see if you can find the picture of the person from the back. Okay? Because once you see someone from the back, you will know if it's either male or female because of how low the hip is in the torso of the body and how acute it is. Remember, a female has a much more acute Q angle. The Q angle is the angle between the hip and the knee, and it's much more acute for females because the hips are farther outside the body. sticking outside the torso of the body makes for a very acute Q angle. And the hips of a female, the acute Q angle will always start below the crotch and slightly above the bum line here from the back. So if someone is male, you're going to find out there's a long distance from this butt line to the Q angle. And let me show you, let me see if I can find a perfect example of that to show you. So here is a picture of Jennifer Lopez with Iggy Azalea. Jennifer Lopez is 100% female and not a mutilated woman in any way, but Iggy Azalea is not the same case. So we're looking at Iggy Azalea's butt here, which a lot of people have been made to be deceived into thinking that Iggy Azalea is actually a woman when Iggy Azalea is 100% male. So as you can see right here, here is the location of Iggy Azalea's bum line. All right, it's right here. If Iggy Azalea was female, her Q angle would have started right around here, this point where I'm putting my mouse over. But in Iggy Azalea's case, the Q angle is farther up here, because Iggy Azalea is male and not a woman. So if you're a man, if you're trying to find out if someone is male or not, when you look at the back, you're going to be able to determine that quickly, because you'll find out that the Q angle is so far away from the bum line because that is a male trait and not a female trait. All right, so let's get into the transvestigation of Ron Howard and finish up this video. So one of the things that we found about Ron Howard was that we couldn't find a lot of pictures of Ron Howard when he's much more older, because the Vatican is very good at hiding its stooges, one of its many stooges, so that people don't know that Ron Howard is not the gender they claim. And before I go on, I want to thank a very special subscriber for bringing this to attention. Angie, you know who you are. We thank you so much for pointing us to Ron Howard. So here is a picture of Ron Howard when she was much younger on the Andy Griffith Show. As you can know, Ron Howard is a child, but you know, as children, like I've said before, nothing can change the skeletal structure. A child is born either male or female and will carry the skeletal structure of either male or female till she or he grows older. So Ron Howard here is a child. As you can see, Ron Howard has an arch in the back right there, and that pelvis is tilted forward because Ron Howard was born as a baby girl and not as a baby boy. So let's go into some more pictures of Ron Howard. Here's still Ron Howard on the Andy Griffith Show. You can still see the cute Q angle of Ron Howard here as a baby girl, a little child. And this is what the Vatican does, taking young children from a very early age and making them, raising them as products to be what they shouldn't be. Just saying that, I feel so much pain for this little child, even though she's now older and goes by the name of Ron Howard. But this acute Q angle, as you can see right here, is below the crotch regardless for Ron Howard as a child. Let's go to a different picture, another picture. Here's still Ron Howard. This one is a little bit very small. Let me see if I can blow it up as much as I can. And that's all I can do, but you can still see that this acute Q angle for Ron Howard as a child, a little girl on the Andy Griffith Show, is 100% female and running like a little girl with, when females run, they put all the weight of their legs into the leg that's in front of them because they have a wider pubic arch, and in order to balance the body, the legs of a female needs to come inside the body, all right, while walking and move forward at the same time to balance that weight. So that's what causes the female to be swinging her hips from side to side, because the legs are doing two things, coming inwards into the body and going forward at the same time. So that's what Ron Howard is doing here, leaning all the weight while running because she's a little girl, and the Vatican has made her to be a stooge so they can use it to run the world and finish off what Genghis Khan couldn't. Here's Ron Howard as a much older female. As you can still see much clothing, but you can't deny the fact that this is all female hips, and that this acute Q angle is showing like below the crotch because Ron Howard is 100% female and not a man in any way. Let's go to another picture of Ron Howard here. Here's Ron Howard still as a little girl. You can still notice that this is a long, long pelvic region of a female, because if you look at Ron Howard here and you try to determine where the navel of Ron Howard would be, the navel of Ron Howard would be right around here, and it's way too inside the torso of the body for it to be male, because Ron Howard as a little girl is female, was born female, not a male in any way. This is the long pelvic region of a little girl and not a boy. Let's go to another picture of Ron Howard here sitting with Andy Griffith. We want to know how Ron Howard is sitting. You can see the distance of this butt is very, very long, because females only have long butts. A man's butt starts suddenly and ends abruptly, because the hips are above the crotch, and that's where the torso of the body usually that's where the torso of the body ends. Not usually, but where it ends at the hips, and so that's why a man's butt is very short. But he's sitting down with this Andy Griffith. You can see that Ron Howard's butt is very, very long, because Ron Howard is 100% female, mutilated female. Let's go to another picture of Ron Howard here with this I think this one was with Bryce Dallas. I think I can't remember the movie which she had Bryce Dallas in, but that's not the point. What we want you to notice is that this is the specially designed pants, all right, and that this is where the belt, you can see how thick this midsection is, and how this belt is popping out, and the distance it starts, because this is the female this belt is close to the female waistline and not the male waistline, which should be right around here, because Ron Howard is 100% female. All right, let's go to another picture of Ron Howard here. Here's Ron Howard again as a little child, and you can see that is a little girl sitting. You can notice the way she sits, and the thighs, and the wideness of the pubic arch. Even though she's a little girl, you can still notice that the wideness of the pubic arch right here shows you that this is a little girl and not a little boy, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Another picture of Ron Howard here with Andy Griffith, and it sucks, because it's so sad that the Vatican does this to little children, And here's Andy Griffith, who knows very, very well that this is a little girl. But Andy Griffith would have also been a stooge of the Vatican, and maybe someone higher up in the echelons of the Vatican right there. And they know what they're doing to this little girl, which they've raised to be a product used to influence the world. Like, for example, using Ron Howard to direct so many movies that has influenced the minds of so many people, like Apollo 13 and now the Da Vinci Code, and a lot of other movies, being a great influence in our world and in our minds. This is what they all do, raise children as products to do that. Let's get to another picture of Ron Howard. Here's Ron Howard again with Carol Williams. I think this was also on the set of I don't quite remember which video it was, but I think it's the same. I'm not sure if it's the Andy Griffith show, but what I want to bring to your attention is the way Ron Howard's arms, hang here. A woman's arms would always follow the contours of her body, so that means a female's arms are shaped in an hourglass figure, just like her body. And this is what is happening with Ron Howard, as you can see right here. These arms are following the contours of the body and forming an hourglass figure, just like Ron Howard, as you can see right here. With a female's arms, you always find that from underneath the elbows, the arms are going to follow the hourglass that a female has, or her pelvic region. And this is what's happening to Ron Howard, because Ron Howard is 100% female and not a man. Another picture of Ron Howard here, as you can tell how wide the hips are, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Older picture, wider hips, as you can see, and the QQ angle is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female and not a man in any way. Here's another picture of Ron Howard as a little girl, being told us it was a little boy. And as you can tell, Ron Howard is trying to place her hands on his hips. I'm so confused. I'm confused, but I'm confusing the words up. But you guys know that it's a she, so when I say he, you understand what I'm saying, okay? Here's Ron Howard trying to place his arms on his hips, but he has no hips because it's a female. So as you can see right there, sorry, what did I say? Let me say it again. This Ron Howard trying to place his hands on his waist. and he can't place his hands on his waist because these are his hips right here, the little girl's hips. So because if this was the waist, the thumb, the location of the thumb would fit right inside there, but it doesn't, as you can tell right here, because this is the hip of a little girl and not the waist of a little boy. So that's why it looks so awkward right here, because Ron Howard doesn't have any waist here, a male waist, but has the female pelvis right there where he's resting his hands on, because Ron Howard is 100% a woman and not a man. Let's go to another picture of Ron Howard. Here's a picture again of Ron Howard. I think still on the Andy Griffith Show. You can tell this acute Q angle is below the crotch. The hourglass figure, you can tell from how long the pelvis is and down to the hips, which is so acute below the Q angle, because Ron Howard is a little girl and not a man or a boy today. Here's Ron Howard again, still doing the same walk that I told you about, walking in a catwalk fashion, because the female legs need to do two things while walking. Needs to come inside the body and forward at the same time, causing the female to catwalk. And this is what Ron Howard is doing as a little girl, because Ron Howard is 100% female and not a man in any way. Another picture of Ron Howard here. You can see swinging like a female does, and the cute Q angle is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female playing golf. All right, let's go to another picture of Ron Howard, still sitting like a little girl. As you can see, how even though as a little girl, it has all the features that a woman would have. You know, the thighs are thicker than that of a boy, and the midsection, because Ron Howard is 100% female. As you can tell from this acute Q angle and the hips right here, that it's below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Here's another picture of Ron Howard, and you can see Ron Howard has the long butt of a female seed right where it starts and travels all the way down here, because that is the long butt of a woman and not that of a man in any way. Ron Howard, 100% female and not a man in any way. Let's go to another picture. Here's Ron Howard again with the same pose, the long butt of a female. I want you to notice the difference between what a male butt looks like. I want you to notice that this is a man right here, and his butt abruptly ends here. It starts there and it ends so quickly around here, while Ron Howard's own starts up there and still travels all the way down. We can't see the end because the picture has cut it off right here, because Ron Howard is 100% female, and this dude over here, I think this is on the set of Arrested Development, is actually male. Let's go to another picture. Ron Howard, and I want you to notice how long this lapel for the pants is, because these are specially designed pants to hide the fact that there's a female pelvis. So that's why it starts so much higher up there and travels for a very long time before it ends right around here, which would be where the Q angle is, because Ron Howard is 100% female and not a man in any way. Here's another picture of Ron Howard. The same thing keeps showing here as a small little girl. Sorry about my mouse, I'm trying to blow up this picture. Let me see if I can. And you can tell right here that Ron Howard is female. This acute Q angle is below the crotch on the Andy Griffith Show, because Ron Howard is 100% woman. And you can see here how Ron Howard swings his arms like a woman does, because a woman's arm will always swing following the contours of the body and shape in an hourglass figure. And that's what's happening to Ron Howard right here in the way the arm is swinging, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Another picture of Ron Howard, and I want you to take a good look at the way the legs are, the little girl legs are, and the knees, the way it sits, because Ron Howard is 100% female. All right, that's why the thighs are sitting that way and the knees, because Andy Griffith here knows that Ron Howard is female, just like the lady here whose name is Eleanor Donahoe knows that they're using a little girl and not allowing her to live her life as a girl, but mutilating this child, feeding her hormones, and turning her out to be a male today. Okay, another picture of Ron Howard. As you can see, the way this pants sits is ridiculously high in the body, the torso of the body, because the navel of Ron Howard would be right around here, because Ron Howard is 100% female, and you can notice the spreading of the pants, because this huge pelvis of a female and not a man in Ron Howard. Here's Ron Howard again sitting. You can notice the long butt that's traveling all the way down. Even though the picture is cut off here, you can tell that this Q angle starts is below the crotch, because Ron Howard
is 100% female. Another picture of Ron Howard, and here's Ron Howard, a co-star, but we just wanted to show you that it seems like Henry Winkler was a co-star on one of the shows that Ron Howard did in his teenage years, is also a woman, because this Q angle is below the crotch. That's just what we wanted to show you on this, on Harry Winkler right here, and Ron Howard, who is female and not a man in any way. Here's Ron Howard, where they showed you that picture of her sitting like a female should. Here's another picture of Ron Howard, I think when she was married, when he was getting married or whatever, girlfriend. Vatican always marries some of these stooges that they use to hide the fact that they're not the gender they claim really quick, so that a lot of females wouldn't try to date Ron Howard and find out that he is not the gender they claim. So they just marry them off real quick and make them to be outstanding guys of society when they're not, because they're trying to hide the fact that they're female. But you can notice the hourglass figure that Ron Howard has here, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Hourglass figure all the way. As you can tell, huge hips, the hips of a woman. Let's go to another picture of Ron Howard again, and you notice the same thing here, the long butt of a female, and see how that butt looks. The butt travels all the way and ends right around here, which is below the crotch, because it's 100% female. Ron Howard is a woman. Long butt of a female, 100% female. Another picture of Ron Howard again, as you can notice, still trying to do the same thing we showed you earlier, trying to find the male waist in his older years, but he can't find it because it's the female pelvic region, and the Q angle is below the crotch. As you can tell that he gets wider from the hips, wider from the pelvic region down all the way down, and then the hips is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. All right, let's go to another picture of Ron Howard. This one's not so clear, but you can still tell there's an arch in that back right there, because Ron Howard is 100% female. When the Vatican hides stuff, they make the pictures blurry, so you won't be able to tell that the female skeletal structure is what Ron Howard has instead of a male skeletal structure. Let's go to another picture. Ron Howard here, I think, with his bride or so-called wife, but you can notice that this is an hourglass figure as it shows here, because with regular females, you start spreading from underneath your elbows like you see with this lady right here. Elbows, and here's the pelvic tilt, because that's where her pelvis starts and starts getting wider. Has the same thing as Ron Howard here, who's 100% female and not a man. Here's Ron Howard again, still trying to hide, but you can still notice the wide pelvis, and the cute Q angle right here is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. So that's why you can't go looking at people of the secondary male and female characteristics and think that they are the gender they claim, because Ron Howard, he has an Adam's apple and facial hair, but the cute Q angle is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. See that? Cute Q angle below the crotch, 100% female. Let's go, another picture. Here's Ron Howard again, and still the same thing here. As you can tell, the pelvis is tilted forward, and the cute Q angle is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. A cute Q angle below the crotch, female all day. Long butt of a female, and standing like one, because Ron Howard is female. Another picture of Ron Howard again, and the long butt of a female, perky butt of a female still shows up, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Another picture right here, and this one is clear as night and day. We should end the video right here. This picture should suffice. As you can tell, the wide hips and the cute Q angle is below the crotch, because Ron Howard is 100% female. You can marinate on that picture for a while. And same with Harry Winkler here. The Q angle is below the crotch, because these were two females. I don't know who this is. We haven't checked him out yet. But these two right here, all females. All right. Here's Ron Howard sitting like a female, and you can notice that right here, that the female thigh, the round full female thighs that females have, is what's on display here with Ron Howard, and the long pelvic region, because this is way too long for where the belt to be at, and it travels way too long down in the lapel of the pants, because Ron Howard is female. And by looking, you can tell that there is no scrotum in there but a labia, because Ron Howard is 100% female, another man in the way. Let's go to another picture. So we had so many pictures, but I want to make people see the truth. And you can see this pants of Ron Howard are specially designed to hide the female pelvis, because you can see how long the pants are sagged down and the distance it travels, because this is not the regular pants of a male. Specially designed pants to hide the fact that Ron Howard is 100% female. All right, let's go to another picture. Here's Ron Howard as a child. You can still see she has an arch in the back, because Ron Howard is 100% female. Arch in the back, female all day, of a little girl. Another picture here, we already showed you this one, but this one is in color. You can still see the cute Q angle is below the crotch. The little girl, Ron Howard. I think that we've come to the end of today's video. Sorry for it for being a long video. It may be a long video. It's a long video probably because it might be the last video that we have on Tricks of the S Trade. If the channel is not shut down in the next couple of days, before, I think the date was, if it's not shut down before the 19th, then you have this video up on the 20th. And we thank all you great subscribers out there for being with us. And send us an email, get the book, so we also have save you on the email list. And subscribe to Tricks of the S Trade too, because it seems like that's where we're going to be uploading new videos on. And it's very, very important that you get our book. It's very, very important. I don't know how to say this. You need to get the book so you save all this information for yourselves. And as usual, I'll leave you with these words: look with your eyes, but see with your brain. And I'll see you guys hopefully and talk with you guys soon or later. All right, have a good day.